Number one, it's my 44th birthday. The second reason is that I've got the good fortune to interview an agent who is absolutely crushing it. He's actually a solo agent selling over 35 deals a month. Folks, we're going to talk about how he's doing it, number one. Number two, we're going to get a glimpse into the real estate market so that we know what's coming. Although there is no crystal ball, talking to somebody that's doing that much volume is a pretty well-grounded expert on what we can anticipate moving forward. Thrilled to introduce you to today's guest. Stay with us, folks. The big question is this: how do those of us in the real estate industry with crazy amounts of ambition, how do we think bigger than the building of our own empires? How do we simultaneously seek success and significance, income and impact? My name is Justin Stoddard, and this is the Think Bigger Real Estate Show. All right, welcome back, guys. Excited to be with you. As I mentioned before, today I'm celebrating 44 years of birth, and I can't tell you if there is, I should say 44 years of life. There we go. And I can't say that there's anything that I'd be more wanting to do. I just had an omelet breakfast from my 10-year-old daughter. My wife came in and said hello, and now I get the good fortune to interview somebody who's absolutely crushing it in real estate, bringing that value to this audience. Kyle Seyboth out of Providence, Rhode Island. Thank you for coming on the show today, my friend.
Hey, Justin, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. And obviously, first of all, happy birthday to you. 44, you're still young. You're all good.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. All right, so let's dive right in, right? Here's the big question everyone asks. You're closing 35 deals a month alone. What does that even look like? I can't even fathom that. Over a deal a day.
Yeah, I mean, that's on average. So my best year, I did 575 transaction sides on my own. I've been averaging between 5 and 6 the last 3-4 years. Obviously, this year being a little more challenging. What it looks like is extreme focus, extreme efficiency, and delegation of anything that's not income producing. So by taking all income producing activities and passing them on to support staff, that's ultimately what we do. So I'm not set up as a team in the sense that I have a buyer's agent and a listing agent. That's not how it is. It's myself. I know every single client. All the clients are, people that I've showed them houses. I know them. I've either helped them buy or sell. But at the end of the day, my support staff is, I've got admins, I've got transaction coordinators, I've got driver, I've got runners. I've got things in every little facet of the real estate transaction that's not income producing, so I can kind of focus on what's important.
I love it, man. That's a different model, right? That oftentimes people do. Now you've got the fastest growing Century 21 franchise in the country, and I'm sure there's a whole bunch of agents out there wanting to learn how to do what you do, and I'm sure it gets fairly easy to attract people into your brokerage. How many agents do you have in your brokerage?
We're about 270 agents. We started in 2021 or 2020, and now we're up to 270. We've got 8 offices throughout Rhode Island, Connecticut, and Mass, and just kind of continue to grow it, and really looking to have a one-stop shop, whether they're individual agents that perform at a high level, whether they're agents that are looking for a team atmosphere, or newer agents that are just looking for some guidance. We really want to provide everything. So we've got a lead gen team. We've got teams within the office. We've got individuals that perform and do 67 transactions, and 60 and 70 transactions. And then we've got our newbies that are part-time and just try to kind of figure it out and go from there.
And when you're producing at the level that you are, I would imagine that you're probably saying no to more people than you are having to go out and try and attract and recruit people. There's a natural attraction that happens. And I think this is an interesting lesson for anybody that wants to grow an organization, is that how many people say, well, like, what are the right scripts? What do you say? Just go do freaking great things and let people know about it. Case in point, you're on the Think Bigger Real Estate Show today, telling people about it, and let the right people come to you, right? Is that a fair strategy? Is that how you guys
we don't proactively recruit, or have not.
Yeah.
And we've done that on, there's been so many people that have gravitated towards us that we haven't had to. So out of the 250 or 270, whatever that number is, I would say we haven't made one phone call and said, hey, come on over. It's been people saying, hey, how can we be part of this? And I think part of this is what, people want to be around success as a brokerage. And I think that's important. They want to, success creates momentum, which creates more momentum, which continues to go forward. So, end of the day, I think it's a nice run. And I think the nice thing that we have going on is we're not just selling luxury homes. We're not just selling starter homes. We're not just selling multifamily homes. We're selling everything. And we're just really trying to get our customer service at the highest level and highest point.
So I'm sure this is curiosity from other people. And again, I welcome questions for those that are watching live. How many people are on your support team? If you're closing, again, on average 35 deals a month as the only agent on the team, what does your support team look like?
So right now it's currently 3 admins that split up 7 days. So we've got 3 admins split over an 8 to 8 shift over 7 days. I've got a scheduler that works 9 to 3, sets up my schedule for everything, whether it's buyers, sellers, whatever. I've got a personal assistant. So there's 5 people there that kind of does all my running around and making sure everything's set up. And, we've got 10 other ancillary businesses that we run. So I got to make sure all that stuff's in place. I've got a driver that works for me 6 days a week. He drives. I don't drive anywhere. I make sure I have somebody to drive me around so I can work while I'm in the passenger seat. We have 3 transaction coordinators, an outside photographer, and then 2 bookkeepers. That's what the current staff looks like now. And then on social media, I've got a social media team that helps with that. So pretty big, deep bench. And then the brokerage is run separately. And then we've got a whole bunch of other stuff that we're rocking and rolling with.
Fascinating, man. I love it. Again, a different model than oftentimes what's taught, but I do think that people oftentimes will add agents because they're friends with them in the office. Like, hey, we should team up, right? So you have 2 high-paid agents who are now splitting commissions, whereas what you've done is gone the opposite direction. Is like, don't add agents, add support staff, and be the face. Focus on revenue-generating activities, and everything else gets passed off.
I think the big difference is that people get involved with the team structure for the wrong reason. The reason that I hear 95% of people start a team is to work less, right? Just basically to have more flexibility and work less, which I get. And that's at the end of the day, the ultimate goal is to be able to do what you want, when you want, with who you want, as long as you want, which I understand. But people start these teams too early. And what happens is they don't even have the wherewithal or the experience to really understand how to generate business, how to execute a transaction, where the business should come from. And I think what happens is they start these teams with this almost like this spreadsheet type mentality, and it doesn't really work that well. And it doesn't work that well because they're not doing it for the right reason, right? So if I started a team now and we actually have a lead gen team that runs and operates its own brokerage within the brokerage, the whole purpose of that team is to generate leads for these people so they can go out there and close 2 to 3 deals a month, and to help them with their goal setting professionally and personally, to help them proactively either circle prospect or get in the lead pool and start making phone calls, or just meet different people and have a set schedule to get their transactions underway. Whereas I'm not here saying, hey, how can I work less? I'm saying, how can I leverage my time while I'm still selling, while I'm running the brokerage and running 10 other businesses at the same time, and have a team working in tandem of that, right? And I think so that's the big difference.
Something that I've adopted recently, which reminds me of what you're talking about here, are kind of 5 key indicators that my life is in the direction I want it to. Number 1, doing what I love. Right. Number 2, doing it with people that I love. Number 3, making a huge difference. Number 4, being compensated appropriately. And then number 5, having time to pursue other passions. And what I heard you outline right there sounds like it's given you that, right? I mean, I guess the big question all of us have is how in that structure do you get time away from your business if you're the only agent? Do you have people who cover for you when you're on vacation? And
so I can get coverage when I need it.
Okay.
I will have people kind of fill in if I need coverage. Obviously, I'm one person. I can't be in 6 places at once.
Yeah.
But the contact and the client is mine, right? The coverage is a filler. It could be Joe Agent. It could be, whomever. It's just a placeholder, right? It's a placeholder to open the door. So we've really done a nice job understanding how valuable that is as far as delegating those simple tasks. And I think at the end of the day, everybody has the desire, will, or whatever that is, or whatever their goal is, whether it's monetary, whether it's time, whether it's wealth, whatever that is, right? We've got to work towards it. And I think, this is one way, and real estate's been a really good platform for me to build other businesses that are going to provide truly passive income for me down the road. And that's ultimately what we're looking to do.
Good stuff, man. Now, I know the promise of today's episode was to talk about the real estate market. You obviously probably better than a lot of pundits, right? They sit on sidelines, reading graphs. You're on the ground level, hearing what buyers and sellers are saying. So I would take more credibility in what Kyle's about ready to teach us here than what some economists might say. I think all insights are valuable when they're grounded, but I think yours is super interesting because you're talking to that many households to find out really what people are thinking, what's causing them to buy and sell or not buy and sell, to invest or to not invest. So with that in mind, as some background for the audience as to why we should listen very carefully to what Kyle's talking about here. Kyle, tell us, what is your interpretation of what's happening in the market? More importantly, what can we expect, in the coming months, even years?
The market is confused. The buyers are confused. Rates have obviously spiked so fast, but more importantly, there's so much pent up demand that buyers don't have a choice. And there's panic buying that's been going on. There's desperation buying that's been going on. Sellers are starting to get a little bit on the greedy side of things and pricing these houses a little too high, which is starting to cause things to sit a little longer than normal. But what you're seeing is if you price something aggressively, you're still getting 15, 20 people showing up at the first showing. I don't see any indication of the market changing in the near term, in the next 6 months. Now, you come to next spring, I don't know. And the reason I would say that you could see a slight increase in supply is because the general public is always at a lag. And I think what happens is, they're going to start to continue to read and understand and listen to how inventory continues to plague the real estate market. And what that looks like is, now if I'm a seller, I'm going to try to absolutely get top dollar and put my property on the market. And I think the ideal situation probably would have been 6 months, 12 months prior. So I think you'll start to see an increase in supply come spring. But unfortunately or fortunately, foreclosures aren't anywhere near where they were the last 5 to 10 years, right? And that's not going to come back until values come down, and values won't come back until supply goes up. So we're kind of at this really interesting bottleneck where buyers that are entering the market, their purchasing power went way down. Buyers that have been in the market are frustrated because they haven't got any offers accepted, so they're starting to, settle for whatever's out there. And sellers have nowhere to go, so the suitable housing clause really hasn't come into effect for a majority of sellers, so they're just sitting on the sidelines. So it's a very confusing market for buyers and sellers alike. And I think what you're seeing is, you're going to see a drastic decline in real estate agents. You're going to see a drastic decline in mortgage brokers. You're going to see a drastic decline in real estate attorneys. And I think the ones that can survive this by being proactive, they're going to come out of this thing way better than they were than when they went in. And at the end of the day, buyers and sellers, right, it'll normalize in the next 12 to 18 months, but it's who's going to be left holding who's there, who's going to be left. And I think good agents that understand that business doesn't just come to you and you have to go get it, they'll be around. Agents that are used to being order takers, they're not going to be there anymore. And it's unfortunate, but it's the reality.
Yeah, I think point really well taken. You look back, from 2014 on, we've had a run up like never seen before. And when you take into account that many professionals came into the industry, right? Whether you're, like you said, a real estate attorney or in title, whether you're in mortgage, whether you're in real estate, you saw a big, easy opportunity. Although it wasn't easy necessarily, it was easier than it is now. And so whatever expectation they had of coming in and making a certain amount of money in a certain given time is not happening based on their limited skill set. And so as you're saying, that there's going to be an exodus out, and those that can be proactive, that can really establish themselves as true professionals, will be primed to really experience quite the boom here in the next 12 to 18 months, is what I heard you say. Does that sound right? Fair assessment?
Yeah, that's totally spot on. And I think at the end of the day, what you're going to see and what we're seeing now is worse than what we saw in 2008, 9, and 10. I think this is a harder market to make money in. I think even though values are much higher and volume numbers could be higher, you're going to see a lot more agents that have to exit because they can't get a deal. They just cannot. There's just not enough business to go around based on the amount of real estate agents versus the amount of listings and buyers and sellers. And I think what you're going to start to see is that massive exodus start to happen very soon. I'm already seeing on the brokerage side, I'm getting more and more agents calling to me and saying they need to get part-time jobs because they can't survive.
when you say proactive, what does proactive look like for you, Kyle? How do you get to the level that you're at?
Proactive looks like you go back to the basics. You go out there and get business, acquire business, whether it's pay per leads, whether it's circle prospecting on open houses or new listings, whether it's higher inside sales, whether it's look into all the different CRMs that are out there, Boomtown and your Yurple or whatever the heck, those, like all those different companies that have the ability to drive traffic, right? That's the proactive way to bring in business. The reactive way is to sit back and say, hey, my investor's going to call me because there's a cool flip on the market. I'm just going to sit here and wait and throw in their cash offer. Or, hey, my Grammy's going to sell her house and she's going to move here and I'm going to get a double sale on this one. That's not happening right now. So you've got to be out there marketing yourself, building your brand. You've got to be out there trying to get as many leads as you possibly can and continue to increase the speed to lead as far as conversion.
I like it, man. Great stuff. I want to do a quick plug here for today's sponsor, Pro Insight, which elevates professional influence. One thing that we're finding, Kyle, I love your thoughts on this, is that regardless of the market or inventory, there are certain life events that cause people to need to move, whether it be divorce, whether it be financial hardship, which we're seeing more of, whether it be relocation. Certain things move people to make decisions when maybe they would have waited. And one thing that we do at Pro Insight is we help professionals to capitalize on those life events through the professional networks of others in their community that are in neighboring industries. So would love to hear, do you have any referral sources, Kyle, that are professional, whether it be a lender, whether it be an insurance agent,
Yeah, I mean, we work with, I work with a number of different financial referral partners. Yeah, financial professional referral partners. And I think at the end of the day, that's ever changing. We're working with different ones all the time. And I think it's been a situation where, some of my better referral partners I don't work with anymore. Some of them are newer. And it just comes down to, people change and things change and life happens. And I think at the end of the day, we have attorneys we work with, we've got lenders we work with, we've got insurance agents we work with. It's just, staying top of mind. And them staying top of mind on their end and myself on my end. So that's really what it comes down to. And there's plenty of business to go around. And again, I don't know if we talked about this, but I was number one agent in the country in 2019. I closed at 575, and that was the what is it, Wall Street Journal, what is that, the name of the thing? Real Trends, the Real Trends. So it was Real Trends. So, when that was all going down, I had all my referral sources were kicking at the same time. Mm-hmm. Everything was flowing. Everything was going great. And it still does. And there's just less inventory now. So that volume numbers come down a bit.
Yeah. Well, I think, to your point, when you can, it's one strategy to be proactive yourself. And when you can get other professionals who have large databases as well, and we teach them how to be proactive, all of a sudden you can really leverage your efforts and get to the numbers that you're talking about. So love it, man. Good stuff. Let's go to our last question, and we're about out of time here. You are a big thinker, one of the biggest we've had on this show. What does Kyle do to continue to be a big thinker, to continue to expand your possibilities and ever be growing? What does that look like for you?
Strategically positioning a vision that builds and grows towards my end goal. And I think what that looks like is building massive passive income streams that help me get to a position where I'll never have to worry again about ever going backwards or going into a position where I have to sell a house out of necessity versus doing it because I like to, or I want to, or I love to. And I think the big thinking is continuing to, just as much as I go to the gym 7 times a week, I make sure I spend time building my mind. And I build my mind by focusing on, I'm not a big reader, but I can listen to an Audible. There's a couple sites on Apple or whatever that can do like a 15-minute cliff note of an Audible book. And every morning I try to listen to one. I write down different manifestations every day, 10 different things I'm grateful for. I write down 10 things I want to do within the next year. I write down I'm a billionaire every single day, 10 different times. And I just try to live in that vision to get to that point and get to that level because I know it's achievable. And if one person did it, doesn't mean I can't.
Right. Great mentality to have. And your daily routine reinforces the fact that you're absolutely going to be a billionaire. right? You're doing the work to get there and create the passive streams that, that many dream of. So I love it, man. Great stuff. Great contribution to our audience today. Thank you for that. If people want to learn more about you, right? Let's say that they're in your neck of the woods, they want to be a part of your brokerage, or they want to learn from you. Where would you have them go?
I would go on my social, just social, go on Instagram, go on Facebook,
Okay.
put my name in there, Google or whatever, and just find all the stuff you can. Message me. I get messages all the time. I'm on these things all the time and constantly get messages, and anyone that I can inspire to do better, be better, and be a better version of them, I'm all for it. So if you have any questions, reach out to me. I appreciate you getting me on. My time, like yours, is precious and valuable, so I got to jump off. But I really, really appreciate it. And most importantly, happy birthday, sir.
Thanks, man.
Enjoy your 44.
Hey, it's my pleasure. Thanks for being on. Appreciate all the contribution you've made. And to everybody listening here today, my final request is this. 3 simple words. You know what they are. Go think bigger. Kyle, thanks for helping us to do that, my man.
You're welcome.
If you found value in anything that you heard here today, do me a favor and just take a quick screenshot of this episode. Tag me in it on social media. That will give you the heads up to create more content like this in future episodes. Also, if you are wanting to build your wealth advisory team in less than 30 days that gives you 2 to 4 professional referrals every month, go to proinsight.com, and or you can reach out to me directly